Video 4, adding and subtracting in standard form, okay? Now, as I've said at the top, it says write each number as an ordinary number and then subtract accordingly. And then at the end, a lot of the time it asks you to make sure your answer is in standard form as well. So we'll do that part. So if we look at the first one, I got 5 times 10 to the power of 5. So if I try and turn that into a normal number, at the moment my decimal point is there and I'm making it 5 times bigger. That's what that power is telling me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where my decimal point will end up. Now in each gap, you fill that gap with a 0, okay? So at the moment, I've got 500,000. Okay, so that's what that number is a real number. Let's have a look at 2.6. So we've got 2.6 and I'm moving it 3 times, okay? So I've got 1, 2, 3. And that's where my decimal point ends up. In the gaps, fill your zeros. So you've got 2,600. You're adding them together, so that's actually quite nice. Okay, so you've got 5, 0, and then 2, 6, 0, 0. Now that actually isn't in standard form. So think about where you could put your decimal point in that number to make it in standard form. It would have to go there, so it becomes 5.026. So 5.026, then think how many times I moved it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it becomes times 10 to the power of 5, and that's adding, okay? Subtracting, exactly the same thing. So we're going to convert, first of all, these two parts into actual numbers, so without the times 10 part. So let's have a look at this one. So I've got 7.35. The power of 4 tells me I'm making that number 4 times bigger. So I need to move my decimal point 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that fourth one, that's where the decimal point is dropping. In your 2 gaps, you're filling them with zeros. So I've got 7, 3, 5, and then 2 zeros on the end. Let's do the same with 3.4. It's telling me I've got to move it twice. So I've got 1, 2, and that's where I drop my decimal point. Fill the gap in with a 0. So you're taking away 340. Now, usually without a calculator, to be honest, but you can use one if you're not sure. That's the type of sum you'd have to do then, taking them away from each other. So obviously 0 take away 0 is 0. You can't do 0 take away 4, so it's old school column method. Borrowing 1 becomes a 10. 10 take away 4 is 6. 4 take away 3 is 1. And the 7 and 3 then, they would be zeros under there, so they stay the same. Okay? Now that at the moment is not in standard form. So I could put my decimal point there between the 7 and the 3. So then it becomes between 1 and 10. Okay, so that's at the moment. Times 10, then think about how many times you moved it. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And that then is adding and subtracting using standard form.